Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of School Matters. I'm David Mustonen, Director of Communications for the Dearborn Public Schools. Joining me today in studio is our Superintendent, Dr. Maleyko. Glenn, welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate being here. It's been a little while since I've been on the show, but glad to be back on an important topic.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that time of year in Michigan. We live in a state where the seasons change, and we are at that point in time where the seasons are changing to those colder temps. And anytime we get colder temps, that means we get snow. Now, I know for you, students start asking for snow days back in August.
Yes, they do. They do. They really do. At homecoming is when it starts.
But realistically, we're now in that time of year
Yes.
when we may have to have a snow day. And so I think it's a good idea just to go over and review, even though we do it every year, but it's a good idea to go over and review once again that process you go through when we do have to close schools. We want to stay open. But there does come a time where safety is a factor, and you have to make that important and difficult call of closing schools. So how does that work, Glenn?
So there's a lot of data that goes into it. I would just say our local data, like we have our team, we need to know our local conditions, what may happen with, for example, snow removal if it was a snow situation. If it was a cold situation, we may want to know how about the ice around the schools, the roads. Oftentimes I may be talking to the city or the mayor to determine what he thinks based on his ability to get the roads cleared. The buses are a big factor. If they get to a certain temperature, they may not start in the morning. Mm-hmm. I remember one time in 2019, we had the buses running all night in order to get things operational in the morning. Another piece of data is with meteorologists. I know we have the local, everybody can access meteorologists, but Dr. Colbert from Wayne County gets the superintendents in a meeting with a meteorologist to give us an in-depth analysis over multiple, usually it's about 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes, which is very, very helpful.
So, obviously, not only talking with our own operations folks here to find out how they're doing clearing the schools, but you're talking with city conditions, the roads within the city, then the area, the Metro Detroit area, all of those factors part of that process. I know sometimes, people talk about, well, you're always the last one, or you're the first one to call, or you're waiting for this district. But really, it's an individual decision to close our district. You may take into consideration the factors in other districts and how that will impact us, but the decision to close Dearborn is based on closing Dearborn.
It is. And if a lot of districts all around us are closed, then you do have an issue because you're looking at, staffing levels. Safety levels is always going to be number one. Safety, what is the safe conditions? But our city could be, I remember my first time, it was like there was nothing on the ground when we made a call, and then all of a sudden within an hour, but yet neighboring districts didn't have the same conditions. And so each district kind of made their own decision. So those do, we want to keep the district open if we can, but we balance that with safety. I would also say that once I make a decision to close the district, 19,600 students are staying home no matter what, and 2,700 staff members. Sometimes we may stay open, conditions may be kind of iffy. Again, erring on the side of safety, but if I keep the district open, then individual families still have that ability to make a decision based on maybe their local conditions in their neighborhood.
And of course, the timing. There was a time, I know when you and I, we've been doing this for a while, Glenn, and there was a time where the decision wasn't made until the morning. Now, there could be that time could come still where that might happen because we don't always know with the weather. But for the most part, we are trying now to make that call earlier, correct?
Especially as the data becomes more consistent, I think the forecasts are better than they ever have been overall. I mean, they could still change.
Right.
Our team, for example, as you're aware, we get on a conference call via Zoom in the evening or whatever time we may need, any time, in order to analyze the conditions. We have staff members on our team who live in different parts of the city, so they're giving us information on the local conditions as well. So what we try to do, like you said, if we can, because we understand the need for families, is make that earlier decision, but sometimes we may not know and we may have to wait a little longer. So there's a lot of factors that go into it, and generally we will keep the schools open until it gets to about, we say 20 below wind chill factor, and I know there's a new term, I believe.
That's correct, yeah. So the National Weather Service has changed some terminology around, and so now they're calling it a cold weather advisory. So we got a cold weather advisory when the wind chill's minus 15 to minus 24, and an extreme cold warning when the wind chill is minus 25 or lower. So some different terms that people may be hearing as well this year.
And even when we're open, we do have at times, for example, at the elementary and middle schools and others, where the students would stay inside if it's around 20 degrees Fahrenheit with the wind chill. So it's a different threshold for going out for recess.
And then finally, once that decision is made, there's a whole bunch of ways that people can find out how that snow day is being called, right? I mean, we do it on our own social media platforms and phone calls, but there are other ways, right? I mean, there are a lot of ways for people to find out.
Sure, and it goes to you, so you're the district communicator, and a lot of times, just for the record, some people think it's me on the phone, but it's not. It's Mr. Mustonen. But yes, there are different ways. Sites like TCD, we appreciate their cooperation, and others who will help us get that information out. So we always recommend parents and community members get on our social media as well, because you're going to get the information very quickly. But some of the ones like TCD, they're also very helpful because they get that information out very quickly.
And we put it out on the local news channels, pick up our feed, and they pick up the information. We also do a robocall, an email, and text message. So that's why it's very important that parents have that proper information with the school district, because we send that out. So you don't need to have social media, but it is another way to find it out once that decision is made. Very important decision.
Yes.
Well, Glenn, thank you for taking a few moments here to just share some insight, because it is an important topic and it's information people need to know.
Yeah. Thank you very much, David. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And thank you, everybody, for stopping by for a few minutes to hear a little bit about the process, kind of behind the scenes for those all-important snow day decisions. I want everyone to please continue to stop by and visit us here at School Matters. We have all the information and all the great news about all the great things going on here in the Dearborn Public Schools.